Hey everybody, welcome to Bearded Baker Banter. It's a sports podcast where it's all sports all the time. Welcome Trent and welcome Big John.
Hey, hello.
Stepping in for Trey this weekend.
Good to be back.
Good.
Trey,
I think we'll have some actual, good content, good points made now with the special guest on replacing Trey. Eliminate a little of that bias that Trey has. I'm just kidding, Trey. We miss you.
no 49er hate. Nah, Trey had a work conflict tonight, so Big John's gonna step in for our guest this week, and we do have Trey's bowl pick'em stuff, so we will also be incorporating that stuff as well. So we'll be all good to go with NFL bowl picks and everything. So Trent's gonna get us going here with the NFL.
Yeah, I just feel like I think this week it's good to get back to hammering the league that dominates. I mean, look at guys, this past week, with it being Christmas, the Raiders game had more views or viewers than the entire NBA on Christmas Day combined.
Yeah.
So, I know everyone has their preference, but NFL dominates it. I know it's bowl season, but I don't think bowl season matters as much, with the amount of opt-outs and transfer portals. They don't mean anything until you get to the playoff. Not a big fan of this year, guys, about how guys can, hold off on their opt-out of their bowl game, so late, too. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of tough, especially when we're trying to do a bowl pick'em over here. But NFL, Christmas Day, I don't mean to be a homer. I know I joke about Trey being biased, but the Raiders knocking off Kansas City. Reactions to that from you guys first.
Well, I'll let the other Raider fan kind of speak to that a little bit first. Go ahead.
I got to tell you, it was a great Christmas gift. I mean, honestly, Pierce, he really has that. He's got the guys going. He's got them motivated. The only thing that's a little tough is their weaknesses are glaring, but the motivation of the players and the way they're reacting and the way they're playing for the coach, that's a great thing to see, and it looks like a bright future.
You mean weakness like not completing a pass from the first quarter on? Literally the Raiders score, what is it, 2 touchdowns in seven seconds.
Yeah.
And from there on out, we're just not going to have to complete any more passes the rest of the day.
Well,
so.
But my point there is, in the past, heads would have sunk, and the sideline would have they would have started, guys would have been talking about their weekends. They would have been talking about whatever else. And you could still see that their hearts and soul were in the game, and the players were still there to play.
Absolutely.
I think Pierce definitely has the guys playing. I mean, there's obviously some big holes there on offense. I mean, I wanted to say that Aiden O'Connell might have been the guy, but not really sure that he is. You still got Jacobs. You still got Devontae Adams. You got a solid core on offense. I think once you get that top tier quarterback, and I truly think it's going to be, I think at least, I don't know if they're going to go into this draft going after a quarterback. I really think that it'd be smart for them to get some sort of older quarterback, maybe a Kirk Cousins, at least for a year or so to kind of get things going with the talent around him. Somebody that's at least established. I'm not saying go in there and get some quarterback that's been around and just doesn't win. I'm saying get a veteran quarterback, maybe Joe Flacco. Who knows? I mean, get somebody in there that can win, that knows how to win.
I don't want Flacco.
Because I'll be honest with you though, your defense is playing. They're on all cylinders right now with four touchdowns in 2 games.
We finally discovered a defensive back.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I hate your Flacco take. I think that's
I just threw a name out there. I
I
said
like
Kirk
Cousins
Cousins first.
take. I'd take Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Cousins, but I really don't think Minnesota's going to move on from him. I will say this, and I know both of you are going to hate this, but there is a lot of connections and talkings about Justin Fields going to the Raiders.
Yeah.
I know, but understand the interim GM was I believe director of player personnel in Chicago when they drafted Justin Fields, and a little bit of interactions between White, the running back that had a big game, and Justin Fields on I think it's Instagram. So just keep that on your radar moving forward. But hey, one thing I guess we can say is, I was back and forth on, is Pierce the guy? Is Pierce gonna, is he gonna? He's now got the highest win percentage of a Raiders coach in a long time since Bisaccia. So we can't make the same mistake twice, right? I mean, best quote from Antonio Pierce, right? He says, "My resume is on the grass, not on paper."
There you go.
Fair enough.
And I do believe that right there is a quote that is very well deserving and fitting of a Raiders head coach. So let's do it.
I'd also say his resume is also in the locker room. You can see the way that the guys rally around him.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Players coach. But you know what? Back to real quick, one more thing. I don't want to stay too long on the Raiders topic. But one, screw Travis Kelce going on their podcast saying that they gifted the Raiders that game. No, we took it from you. Travis Kelce looks like a man that needs to be going on tour.
Hang up the cleats, man.
Yeah, holding his girl's duffel bag while she goes from city to city. But I got Malcolm Kuntz and Max Crosby, guys. Since week 8 for the Raiders, ready for this? Between the two of them, 74 pressures, 14 sacks, 17 tackles for a loss, 32 QB hits, 4 forced fumbles, 43 stops in general. I think the Raiders right now have 2 young, up and coming edge rushers, which is that in the NFL defense is too important.
Yep.
So, and as we said, if they can find that guy, that quarterback, which I don't know if it's going to be a vet, I don't know if it's going to be in the draft, but moving forward, Pierce has the Raider Nation feeling some hope, which is big. But so I guess the other one that we have to address, I know, Tyler, you're not going to want to address this one, but it was what a lot of people said was going to be the Super Bowl preview, and I mean, Mike Florio kind of really dug himself a grave after his comments. Ravens took that really personally. I don't think the Niners are too thankful for Mike Florio's comments there, but Niners Ravens, whew, I'll tell you what, statement game, fluke game. Tyler, why don't you start us off here with this reaction?
So, seeing some of the reactions and stuff, obviously, it's I'm interested in just to kind of see how the sports world has reacted to it, because I expected more Brock Purdy hate, like, oh, this just solidifies what we've been saying, everything else, and it's kind of funny just the way that the sports world reacts to things like this. And I've seen a lot of people and commentators now, well, listen, he's having an MVP season, like, you're allowed to have a bad game. So it's almost like the bad game that Purdy had was almost like has people like rallying around him now. Like, RG3 has some good comments tonight. Michael Vick has him as a top 5 quarterback. Like, and they're almost defending him. Even I don't remember if I think it might have even been Shannon Sharp, who's been like a big Purdy hater. But like a lot of these guys that have been like hating on Purdy the whole time, it's like all of a sudden now it's like, well, you're allowed to have a bad game. That's going to happen. It's the NFL. Here's my take from it is, I think what you had happen is, if you look at the Ravens locker room in the post game, I think this was their Super Bowl. I don't see them making it to the Super Bowl. I see them choking first or second round in the AFC to either the Bills or the Chiefs. They look good, and I think Bose even pointed out too. He said Lamar did some things that were a lot different than what we scouted upon. In terms of where he's going to run, if he's pulling it down early, like he let plays develop, which, and I'm not going to lie, I mean, I'm not a big Lamar fan, but like that's a testament to him as a quarterback and growing. like if you got a guy like Bosa saying like, listen, the guy did some things, like, all right, he did something. Maybe he's grown up a little bit, didn't try to do things that he wasn't supposed to. I think the biggest thing you're going to take away from this is how does San Fran react? I watched Brock Purdy's interview today, and it really was humbling in a lot of ways. Where he talked a lot about, hey, this was game of the week, Monday Night Football, Christmas Day. He goes, and I learned a lot from it, and it's the NFL. You're not going to come out and be perfect every time. So I think just his maturity, even as a guy that just turned 24 yesterday, I think him as a quarterback showed a lot of maturity. So I'm very interested to see what now you have an angry 49ers team where everybody's kind of down on him a little bit. Watch out for Debo. Watch out for Trent Williams. You got a Chase Young, Trent Williams revenge game this weekend against Washington. So should be interesting.
But, Tyler, do you think, you say about how they handled it. You think Debo handled it that well? Because, I get he's standing up for his quarterback, but he's making headlines for, interactions online where he thinks it's Cam Newton, but really it's a bunch of dudes that are like in high school or college that have and he's just, I don't know. I get it. Don't get me wrong. You do have to learn from it. And there are going to be games like this. And you rather happen on Christmas Day rather than, late January or whatnot, because you drop that, you're done for the year. But, I get what you're saying with Ravens Super Bowl, but dude, I just think the Ravens showed that they're a legit Super Bowl contending team all across the board, because Lamar can kind of do what Purdy does. Is if you play mistake-free football and allow that defense to keep you on the field and the other team's offense off the field, you got a chance. Because Lamar doesn't have to make every play. That defense made an MVP quarterback and running back, and holy hell, top tight end, top one or two top receivers. It's like they made them look kind of okay.
Not if you actually look at the actual statistics of it. The game changing thing was 5 turnovers and none. Three of those turnovers were tipped balls. Those balls drop. That was bad. But I'm saying if they don't get tipped and picked, dude, it's a different game. Offensively, I think the yardage was about the same. There was offensively, statistically, San Fran was up on certain categories of things. Like, if it wasn't for the 5 turnovers, it's a different game. And I'm not concerned about San Fran's offense. I'm not concerned about their defense. I think they're going to be just fine.
Well, you should feel confident, but 5 turnovers, you say 5 turnovers. Yeah, 5 turnovers is a pretty big glaring ratio of turnovers. Yeah. That's bad. So in big time games, you can't do that because you're literally doing what you did. You handed them the game, but
learn from it now rather than later.
Yeah. Dad, anything to add?
Yeah. You got to look at the timing of the turnovers. Like early on, the one batted ball, real early on. The odds of that were so. It was so unlikely. But what it did is it forced San Fran to play something other than their game plan the rest of the game, which then resulted in additional turnovers. So I'll be honest with you, it's probably one of the best things. People sit there and say, well, a loss is never good. Well, sometimes it is, because sometimes you start reading the newspapers and hearing the comments and stuff on the internet and Twitter and everything about, they're just great, they're unbeatable, blah, 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 blah. Then what happens is you go into the playoffs, you flop. So this was a good thing to sort of get the guys back and sit there and say, we're not going to let that happen again. We're not going to let that happen again. It tasted like shit. Let's go on here, and it sort of revitalizes the team. Circles the wagons a little bit. Yeah. It's now. Well, did you hear what they were saying after we got beat? You hear what they were saying? Let's build off of it.
Yeah. As long as when you're circling the wagons, you don't get dysentery. Yeah. Anybody? Yeah. What's from?
Oregon Trail.
There you go.
Man, oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what. The Niners definitely have a good opportunity in front of them to get right.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense with they play the Commanders this week, which some people in here will be seeing that live.
I will be attending. Yes, my family and I are going to be attending.
All right. But now I guess the other thing, I have to kind of, be on the opposite side here of you guys. I'm kind of holding up for Trey, but I will say before I get into that part, how about, and I want to talk about this game later, but Ravens now have to host the Dolphins, and that's like, hey, you win, you get the 1 seed. So they don't have much time to enjoy this one. It's like it's back to back. Whoa, like these are big championship style like football games.
And that's what I could see the Ravens choking in this game because of how big this previous game was.
I don't necessarily a choke. I think Miami's got a legitimate team.
Yeah.
Miami has a legitimate team. I don't necessarily think it would be a choke, but there's a couple teams over there that you look at. Like you look at the Bills right now. The Bills are super hot. You got Miami, who's pretty good. You got Baltimore, who's pretty good. You got a lot of teams. And Kansas City's always a threat, and Cleveland's playing well.
Hey, Dad, it sounds like you're just thank you for the common sense approach that the AFC is better than the NFC. Thank you, because every team that you just stated is AFC. Look at
talking about the AFC side of things. You're not talking about both sides.
The two top big dogs from each conference this past week played each other, and guess who came out 2-0?
I'm not going to agree with that because I think Dallas at home is dangerous. Dallas away is a whole different perspective.
It's Miami. It's the best weather you can get down there. Like that stadium is not a home field advantage.
I'm telling you, Philly, the Niners, and Dallas. I mean, there is a distinct separation. I think overall the AFC is stronger in general. But to be honest with you, I think the strength of the NFC top teams are stronger.
Yeah, debatable.
Which is kind of what we had talked about, Trent.
Yeah. So Tyler, here's real quick. Trey, although not able to join us, did send me the one thing to get you a little spicy feeling here.
Why didn't he send it to me? Because I'm stepping in for him.
He knows that when you have still went the opposite direction of what he's wanted to.
As I say, and he obviously didn't send it to me either, so he sent it personally to you.
He did.
What an asshole.
But anyway, so game changer versus game manager is the title here of this. You have one quarterback who has the most inexperienced team in the NFL. That is Jordan Love. He's got 27 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
Okay.
And then you have another quarterback, Brock Purdy, who says he has a team of the Avengers.
That's a Trey quote?
No, that's from his source. Brock Purdy has, with the Avengers, 29 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. So he's just kind of, stirring the pot there, saying, you know what, maybe the old game changer, game management game changer, game manager argument is legit and fair, I guess, is what we're getting at. So
that's fine because Brock Purdy's thrown for over 4,000 yards. He's one of two quarterbacks this year that have done that. First one for San Fran's franchise since Jeff Garcia in the year 2000. He's on pace to actually break Jeff Garcia's single season passing record. Jeff Garcia, I think, was 4,289. Brock right now is 4,030. So he passes for over 300 yards the next two games. That's Brock's record for a pretty good storied franchise.
Okay.
I'm surprised, Tyler. If you would have asked me who held the passing record for that franchise, I would not have said Jeff Garcia.
Right.
I would not have.
In the year 2000.
I might have even said Alex Smith before Jeff Garcia.
I think 2000. I think he still might have had Rice and Owens.
Well, okay.
So
makes sense. Then.
May I comment on one other thing?
Yeah.
A game manager doesn't have the highest completion percentage lead all four categories, quarterback categories. A game manager doesn't lead the entire NFL in all four quarterback categories. Number one, a game manager does it. A game manager is a quarterback like Trent Dilfer, years ago with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. Purdy is actually more than a game manager because he leads the four categories.
Okay, fair enough. I will.
Perception, he still leads those categories.
Yep.
Okay. I will leave us off with this because that was the Monday night game. I don't know if any of you saw this, but now we have a record in Monday night history, Monday Night Football history, where the longest win streak by underdogs is now at 8 in a row. 8 straight underdogs have won outright on Monday Night Football. So that starts with the Broncos upsetting the Bills, and then all the way until Ravens upsetting the 49ers. So just a good little fun stat there.
I wonder if because they're actually calling the Saturday night game this week a Monday night game. I think it is a Monday night game. It's Detroit versus the Cowboys. So I wonder if that'll actually count into it, even though it's not Monday night. But
I hope it does because I think the Lions upset the Cowboys.
The Lions are plus 5.5, I think.
I know. Love that. Love it.
So.
I don't love it. I mean, I can't. Dallas is playing at home.
Oh, gosh.
Dallas.
You of all people to be like, all of a sudden, like.
You know how much I dislike Dallas. Dallas is my second least favorite team besides Pittsburgh. Okay? But I'm going to be honest with you. I see how they played at home, and look at their statistics at home versus on the road. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you want to transition into this coming week then? So then let's
actually no. I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
I know we're using a little time here. We will give your credit where credit's due. Russell Wilson call out saying that by the end of the year, Tyler said, I believe it was on episode 27?
27.
27, to quote Tyler, he said...
Well, hold on here. Real quick. I'll play the audio real quick.
Well, okay.
Broncos are going to underachieve. I think Russell Wilson's overrated.
Stidham.
I
said it last week.
Tyler's bold statement is Stidham ends up being the starter by the end of the year, so we shall see. That's my guaranteed underachiever.
So that was week 27. That was back in July, the end of July. Lo and behold, who's the starter for week 17 for Denver Broncos?
Yeah. You know...
What is it? Still?
Jarrett Stidham, baby.
You know what, though? It is what's kind of weird about the whole scenario. It is identical to the Derek Carr scenario.
That was the comparison a lot of people brought up.
It's 100% because if he's not healthy, if he would happen to get injured in the next 2 games, just like the Raiders did, only I think the Raiders pulled it a game or 2 before this, they would owe him a substantially increased amount of money.
Right.
So he knew. So the report is the Broncos went to him weeks back, requested that they restructure his deal. He said no. So there was a pretty big disagreement. So then he kind of knew this was going to happen at some point. But I just want to give you guys a comparison here. Russell Wilson, 2023, has 26 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, 6.9 yards per pass, okay? And he has 3 rushing touchdowns, okay? Patrick Mahomes this year.
Yep.
26 passing touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 6.9 yards per attempt, and 0 rushing touchdowns. So when we sit here and talk about, it's super. The league is so frustrating because, we would all agree. I think everybody knew the Raiders winning didn't just spoil the Chiefs. It spoiled frickin' Jim Nantz and Tony Romo's Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Mahomes. And don't get me wrong, the guy's a freak. He makes freak plays. But here's the other thing, is when are they going to say, hey, there are guys playing just as good as him this year?
Or
and
better. Maybe Mahomes isn't the guy. Somebody has to say it.
The guy.
Somebody has to say it, though. Was he the guy, or was he a product because of all the talent around him? Let's start to discuss that then. Because if that's what the conversation is going to become, then maybe that needs to be the conversation around Patrick Mahomes. Because maybe he just isn't that damn good. Maybe he makes fancy passes, all right? Maybe he's won a Super Bowl or two, but maybe he's just not that damn good without the guys around him. Because, and I think, Trent, you pointed out, and I think it was back in episode 26, that Patrick Mahomes' receiving core is garbage.
Yeah.
And look at Patrick Mahomes this year. Even with Travis Kelce, Mr. Loverboy, all right, Patrick Mahomes is playing average. Average. Patrick Mahomes this year is average. Put it on the record right now.
Okay. Who's Kelsey loving?
We don't mention that name on this podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Let's just say he's not moving as swiftly as he used to.
Ooh, Dad used it this time, Ty.
That's absurd.
Uh-oh. Hey, Dad, you're lucky. I don't know if Tyler's going to have you back after that.
No, you're getting censored.
Canceled. But yeah, anyway, I just, it drives me nuts. And I know, everybody last year dogged him, right? They dogged Russell Wilson, how bad he was. But, man, this is just frustrating because it's, you're playing not to get hurt. But in this case, this is where the money ruins the game and contracts ruin the game.
Yep.
Because here's the thing: Denver is still in contention.
So
I know it's a long shot, but they're in contention. You're willing to bench him in preparation in the area to save yourself some millions of dollars, which is unreal.
Yeah, the Russell Wilson situation is definitely odd, but I don't know. Do you think he starts somewhere next year for a different team?
Yeah.
Maybe he's the Raiders.
Maybe he's the Raiders.
There you go.
Oh man,
I would be so far away from Las Vegas. I am sorry, guys, but I support your team
not a
right
Russell
now.
Wilson fan.
I support your team right now, but if you got Russell Wilson, done.
Now I could see.
Done.
I could see with who he's married to, I could see him potentially going to Atlanta. But that's another conversation another time.
All right.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah, that might be.
if Arthur Smith's still there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Already.
All right. Well, let's get into a couple picks here because we do have some pretty good games this week. Obviously, some pretty important games for playoffs. But
for what time?
Playoffs.
There it is. Sorry.
See, this is where we need an audio guy, and all of a sudden I can play that clip. Probably get sued by somebody, but I don't know. Maybe Brett Favre. I don't know. We'll see.
They were who they thought we were.
All right. Well, let's get into some picks here, Trent. You got a couple picks you want to start us with, or you want me to get going?
Yeah. So I'm actually I enjoy the first two. We actually talked about both these games. And I'm actually on the dog in the first one. So I'm referring to Detroit and the Cowboys Saturday night. Okay. I just think this is the time, right? This is the time where Dan Campbell solidifies that, hey, we are a legit, and I think they already have, but I think you go into Dallas and you beat Dallas. And Dallas goes into a frenzy, but really Dallas knows that they're going to be the top wild card team, plain and simple. But the other two teams behind them are already too many games behind. So Dallas has almost solidified where they're at, I believe. So I like Detroit getting the 5.5. I'd love to get 6, but I'll take the Detroit plus 5.5.
Okay.
I'm on the Ravens. I'm on the Ravens -3 right now. I once again, with Waddle out, I think, yes, Tyreek Hill's going to get his. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But I think the name of the game is you cut the head off the backfield. And right now, Achane does not look anything like he has, and it's all Mostert. So I'm thinking you take the head off of Mostert, and I think the Ravens are going to do so because
Mozart is questionable.
yeah. So I mean, and this is that time of year where Mostert probably will get dinged up and be done for a while.
Yeah.
So I like Ravens.
Usually happens
I'm not
earlier,
gonna lie. Yeah, true. I actually like if I could get the money line in the -160s. I would love it. Right now it's -170, which for Bearded Baker bet, we usually that's like our threshold. Like we don't go past that. So
I think -180 is the highest.
okay. So my other two real quick is Raiders +3 at the Colts. Although it's like typical, you win against the Chiefs. The recency bias is fresh, and you're gonna buy in on the Raiders at +3.5. But then the Colts are gonna come in and blow them out. I don't know.
Which is complete bullshit because let's put it in perspective. Remember last week when I was like, "Oh, Colts against the Falcons as dogs," and how the hell did the Falcons win? It's oh man, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I think the Colts are playing way over their head.
Yeah.
I think they're right now they're the last seed in the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs.
Well, here's the thing: Raiders want to keep their hope alive. They got to win, so that's why I'm going Raiders +3.5, and then I'm going Packers +1 at the Vikings Sunday night, New Year's Eve.
Ooh.
Yeah, who are the Vikings starting? They're not starting.
It's no longer Mullins.
No, it's the next quarterback.
Yeah.
Hold on. So they moved on from Dobbs and Mullins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very. I'll get his name here. Stat guys are on it.
I feel like that's a tank job.
Those are you might not be wrong. Those are my picks. Those are my
All
picks
right.
for.
All right.
week.
So I have 5 picks here. That I'm looking at. I am opposite of you with the Ravens, Trent. I'm on the Dolphins +3. I don't know. Like I said, I think the Ravens celebration and everything else, I think they're going to be a little too hype coming in this week and realize that, hey, guess what? This would be the Dolphins' second win against the winning team, so it would be a little bit unheard of for Miami, but, I'm just saying. They might still lose, but I think that they lose by less than 3. I'm going Buccaneers -2.5 against the Saints. I think Buccaneers win by at least a touchdown. I'm on Bears money line against the Falcons, which isn't great odds. It's -162 right now on DraftKings, but I think the Falcons suck, and I think the Bears are showing some signs of life. I am on the Panthers +6 against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's down right now, and Lawrence is playing hurt.
Yep.
If he plays at all.
Yeah, I don't think they're the same team right now, and I think the Panthers at least cover 6. I'm not saying the Panthers win, but I don't think they. I don't think Jacksonville beats them by more than 6 if they do win. And then I'm also on the Chargers +3.5 against the Broncos with the new Jarrett Stidham era. But I'm gonna take Chargers. Chargers played the Bills tough last week, and I really truly think that if you look at it, it does honestly look like when the Raiders beat them, like pulverized them. Here's a word: pulverized. I truly think the Chargers were just done with their coach. And I really think that there's some sort of new, fresh, hey, let's play some football right now, from the Chargers. So I think +3.5's decent against the Broncos. So those are my 5 picks.
I like it. Hey, Ty, is there any similarity in seeing how bad the Chargers played that week, giving up 63 points? Is there any similarity in the Jets giving up on Robert Saleh by giving up 37 to the Browns?
Do I think that? Is that a question?
Yeah.
No.
Fourth string quarterback, Joe Flacco, no Nick Chubb.
I mean, if you really look at it, though, like, Joe Flacco really could be a second string quarterback on most teams. Should have been for the Jets.
So, like, if a team had Joe Flacco as a backup last year to manage them better, keep him there, you mean?
No, I'm not. He actually wanted to go to the Jets.
Yeah,
exactly. He said he wanted to go to the Jets.
That's my point.
But is that Saleh? Is that the GM?
Both.
It's not Saleh. Come on. I think the Jets have packed it in. They're like, hey, guess what? We got Trevor Siemian here. We kind of suck right now. I think they're done. I think they're just going for draft capital right now.
Well, they are done. They were the first team to be eliminated from playoff contention.
No, I know, but I'm saying anyway. Like I don't feel like there's much that they're playing for at all. So,
gotcha. Dad, let's go your picks. Sorry, I just had to get that Robert Saleh jab in there because I'm done with it.
Dallas plus 4.5. I like that.
Their favorite. They're minus 4.5, minus 5.5 in some picks.
Yeah. The Chargers, I'd like to stay away from that game because is the interim coach going to rally the team? Is he not going to rally the team? It's sort of like the USC quarterback the other night in a bowl game. It's like, okay, a kid comes into the game and all of a sudden now he throws six touchdowns in a game. Mm-hmm. So, I sort of want to stay away from that right now because, do we have an instant culture change? To your point earlier, Tyler, now will the Chargers play for this guy? The previous coach was a defensive coach, looked like he was an offensive coach and didn't know anything about defense because of the way his team played defensively almost the entire season. So, and in the playoff game last year. So, but the Miami-Baltimore game, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be tough for Baltimore to be up for 2 consecutive games like that and go at that kind of pace. I think I'm still. Going into the Niner game, quarterback completion percentage was like 66% or whatever. And that's, still circle the wagons. Don't let him out of the pocket. Make him beat you with his arm, and take away his tight ends. If you take away his tight ends, I don't care. I really don't care. So I'm still not sold on the Ravens. I'm still not sold on them.
So hey, since you guys are both on the Dolphins, can we go beer bet on the money line?
What's the money line?
Just straight up win or lose. Like I'll bet you a beer bet, Tyler and Dad.
Okay.
If I think the Ravens beat the Dolphins this week.
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I want 3 points.
I'll do that.
Nope. I'm not giving any points because they're both the 2 top teams in the
I don't even want points. I don't even want points. I think the Dolphins win the game outright.
All right. Well, I'm not making that beer bet. Dad can. I'm not.
I am.
You sound like a little baby.
No, you need to give me the 3 points.
I'm not even taking the 3 points.
That's fine.
I'm money line.
I prefer the 3 points.
All right, Dad and I got a beer bet.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. A nugget nectar.
Deal.
Okay.
Deal.
Shout out to Troge.
There you go.
All right. Any others? Are we good for this with the NFL week?
No, I think we're good. We do have some teasers though.
Got to have some D teasers here.
All right. What exactly are these D teasers or BP teasers or whatever they are? What the heck are they?
I'm hearing D teasers, DP teasers, D teasers. Here we go.
Why do we have to? I think the best in the league would be the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
So a teaser, to clarify to you, John, and our listeners, is when you pick multiple lines, whether it be an over-under, whether it be spread. And what you do is you tease it by like anywhere from 5.5 to 6.5 points. So,
Okay.
for example, if I would take, say I would take a team that is favorited to win by 5 points, meaning they're -5.
Okay.
If I tease that by 6 points, now I get that team in that parlay for +1. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It takes it in the opposite direction.
Okay.
If you want it to. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's what we mean by the tease.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys handle this. I'll sit and watch.
Yeah. So, Tyler, do you want to start us off with your teaser that you have?
Yeah, I can start with mine.
Okay.
So the teaser that I have here is a 5-legger. It's actually, I'm doing a 6.5 point tease
Yes.
for +290. I got the 49ers -6. I got Patriots +20. I got the Buccaneers +4. I got the Bears +3.5. And I got the Panthers +12.5. It's my tease.
Right. I like it. All right. So mine is same legs, Ty. I got 5 legs, and I have 6.5 as well. So I have the Bears +3.5, Raiders +10, Texans +2, Niners -6, and I have Jaguars +0.5.
It's interesting. You went the opposite way on the Jags.
I did.
Okay.
I did. So, yeah,
Not
and that's
bad.
+290 for that one as well.
Sweet.
So, all right.
All
Well,
right.
hey, that's the top league in all sports. So let's go to bowl season, right? Let's go bowling.
So what we'll do here is we'll rattle these off. We're going to rattle off the odds based off of our ESPN betting Bearded Baker Banter group. So again, these odds have not changed since the beginning, just in case anybody wonders. But these are what the odds were from the very beginning. And then the only games that we'll really kind of talk a little bit more in depth about is going to be the last two, which is going to be the Rose Bowl, which is Michigan versus Alabama, and then Washington versus Texas in the Sugar Bowl. So we'll talk a little bit about those, a little bit of differences in those lines and what that looks like and who our picks are. So we also have Trey's picks in here, so I'll chime those in as we kind of go through. So the first one we got here is going to be the Gator Bowl. We got the University of Kentucky versus Clemson. We got Kentucky being +7.5 favorites. Clemson Tigers being -7.5 favorites. Where are you guys at?
Right. Let me pull my picks up. Sorry. Gator Bowl, you said.
Yep, Gator Bowl.
All right. So let's. The bowls today really hurt me. It hurt my heart.
Here,
It really hurt my heart.
I can start it off while you pull yours up, Trent.
Yeah.
I'm on Kentucky. Kentucky +7.5. I think Clemson, they're kind of that weird. I'm actually surprised they're 22. I know they were like my ACC champion at the beginning of the year, but I think giving them that hook of a touchdown, I think puts them at a disadvantage. So I'm going to take Kentucky at +7.5.
Okay. I'm going. I bought the stock back when Dabo told me to. So I bought stock in Clemson, and I'm going Clemson -7.5.
Okay. Deb?
I go with Clemson there. Debo knows how to coach and prepare for a team, and yeah, there you go, Debo. I'll put my money in him.
All right. It's very similar to the last couple of weeks. I'm always a different one, and everybody else picks the same ones.
Was Trey Clemson?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Trey was also Clemson here.
All right.
All right, next one we have the Tiger Sun Bowl. Sorry, not Tiger. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Ooh, this one's
Great. I knew that was coming.
We're all on it. Yep. We got Notre Dame Fighting Irish at -10.5. You got the Oregon State Beavers. I'd love to hear. We need to get Bill Walsh on here to talk about the Beavers.
Yes.
Building dams.
Conference champions.
Well,
I'm on Oregon State +10.5 for this.
Yeah, I think with the amount of opt-outs Notre Dame has, I think they're going to be a little flaky in this bowl. Oh, got me there. All right, sorry. So I'm going to go with Oregon State as well, plus 10.5.
All right, I'll be the tail end of this conversation. Yeah.
Damn you.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Notre Dame. I don't think Oregon State is what Oregon State is, and yes, Hartman's out and all the opt outs and stuff. But again, you get a Notre Dame. Every Catholic mother in the country wants their kid going to Notre Dame, so they still have players to play. So again, you don't know who's going to step up. Maybe you have a repeat of what you saw with USC here in the Notre Dame situation. I'll take Notre Dame, as much as I dislike Notre Dame.
All right.
Trey Head?
Trey was on. Sorry. Trey was on Oregon State as well.
There you go. You're not alone.
Nope. All right. Next, we have. Oh, I'm sorry.
Get in the zone.
Yeah.
AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
So next we have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl with Iowa State minus 6.5 and Memphis at plus 6.5. Where are we going?
I'm going Iowa State minus 6.5.
Okay.
I'll match that. I think Iowa State.
All right. I am also going to go Iowa State, and that's just a Brock Purdy shout out. So
there you go.
That's fine. Trey is on Memphis.
He's walking in Memphis.
So, everybody's Iowa State. Trey is Memphis. All right. Next we have. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
But next really hurt, man. You building that out there.
What's that? All right. Next we got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. No, I'm sorry. We have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. You got Ohio State versus Missouri. You got Ohio State minus 6.5.
I'll tell you what, this one's tough. I mean, I feel like there's so many guys out or transferring, opting out. It's still unknown if Marvin Harrison is playing or not. He has traveled with the team but has not participated, so it's like, if he's not practicing, I don't think he's playing. But I'm going Missouri plus 6.5. I've kind of been on the Missouri bandwagon all year. They like to cover.
I don't think they're covering. I think they're winning the game outright.
I'm okay with that.
So I'm actually on. You guys both said Missouri.
Yeah.
I'm on Missouri as well. Again, it goes more back to the opt-out thing. I don't think Ohio State's hearts are in it. Kind of goes into like the Georgia Bowl or the Georgia Florida State stuff. Like, yeah. I'm going Missouri. I think Missouri's going to play for a lot more than what the what Ohio State was actually going to play for. So I'm on Missouri. All right.
And I like their coach. I like what he said on that transfer. His opinion on the transfer portal.
Yeah, that was
pretty classy.
I mean, it also makes a lot of sense, though. You know, it's like
it was the truth.
It's like what do you gotta the game? I mean, the game is completely changed.
It is.
All right, next we have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We got Penn State and Ole Miss.
The spread is minus 3.5 on ESPN.
Yes, I'm sorry. Minus 3.5 for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, so I'm gonna learn my lesson here. Everything a part of me in terms of gambling would want me to put this on Ole Miss money line, Ole Miss spread, Ole Miss team total points, all of the above. But it's mainly just my I don't know what it is. It's not that I hate Penn State. I think they're fake. However, the fakeness usually leads to them winning this bowl game. You know, they're going to come in, they're going to beat a I'm going to say mediocre, middle of the pack, not top dog of the SEC, like they usually do.
All right.
I gotta go Penn State here because I think a good solid defense beats a little above average offense.
Wow. Above average. Interesting.
Oh, I think their offense is above average.
I think
Old misses, but I think a good defense just shuts them down.
Trey's on Penn State minus 3.5. I'm on Ole Miss here for plus 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Ole Miss is an underdog. Give them to me.
Okay.
All right.
You're an Ole Miss guy though.
And the funny,
which surprises me because you're not really a Lane Kiffin guy after what he did to Tennessee, right?
Hate Lane Kiffin, but he wins.
Yeah.
And honestly, it kind of goes back to when he had Matt Corral there as his quarterback. I know Matt Corral's not there anymore, but like he just had the guys playing, and it's hard to bet against him. You know what I mean? I feel like they put up a lot of points usually, and I feel like kind of going back to Penn State. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, next bowl game.
Ooh. Yep. Next, we got the Music City Bowl. You got Maryland versus Auburn. Maryland is plus 2.5.
Yeah. So I think with everybody seeing Auburn do what they did against Alabama, I think that's why the line is at minus 2.5 for them as favorites. And I think that's why 66% have picked Auburn to cover that. But I am actually going the opposite way. I really hope, I haven't done my due diligence here, but I really hope Tua's brother is playing. Because if he is, then yeah, I'm even more confident in Maryland plus 2.5. Would love to get a 3.5 line there, but yeah, I like Maryland here.
I'll take Maryland as well. I like Maryland for the sole purpose that the only reason they played Alabama tough is because it's Auburn, Alabama. That's the only reason they played that game tough. The Iron Bowl. I mean, it's other than that, Auburn's just a below average team.
Agreed. Hey, Ty, you all right? You allergic to these bowl games or what, man?
Oh no, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sorry. All right. Well, not to burst your bowl bubble, Trent, but looks like Tua's brother's out.
That's all right. I'm rolling with Maryland.
Yeah.
I'm going to use Dad's reference to this USC quarterback guy that he's brought up a couple times, so I'm gonna go with that too.
Okay.
I'm on Maryland as well.
For the Music Bowl, that should strum up some good.
Oh boy.
Who's your pick?
No, I'm on Maryland too. Again, I wish it was more than 2.5 on ESPN because I know it did jump a lot. I'm guessing it's because the quarterback's out, but I'm on Maryland. Trey is on Auburn for this. So, and I don't know if I said Trey's also on Penn State for that previous pick.
You did say it.
Okay. All right, moving into a couple of our big bowl games here. We got the Orange Bowl. You got Florida State and Georgia. Florida State is plus 13.5.
Yeah, I'm going Georgia minus 13.5.
Okay.
I'm taking Georgia as well. Even a lot bigger than 13.5. Florida State won't even show up.
I'm also on Georgia. I don't know, 13.5. I think that's a crappy line. I think they get beat by a lot more than that. I don't think 13's even close to what they'll be beat by. They'll be beat by a lot more.
Yeah.
So I'm on Georgia as well. I think firepower's still a little too much, especially when Florida State's offense is pretty much a dud. And I don't think their defense is good enough to stop Georgia from scoring more than they could. So, all right, Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, Wyoming versus Toledo. We got Wyoming at plus 2.5.
All right, I'm going Toledo minus 2.5.
Okay. Dad?
I think the Cowboys will wrangle them up. So I'm going with Wyoming.
Okay. I'm also on Toledo minus 2.5 for my pick, and Trey is also on Toledo.
I'm alone. That's okay.
All right. Next we got, oh man, this is a tough one. The ReliaQuest Bowl. What the heck is ReliaQuest?
No clue.
Hey, shout out to
No
ReliaQuest.
clue.
Hey, if you want to sponsor us, let us know, because then we can find out what you are. ReliaQuest. ReliaQuest Bowl. We got LSU versus Wisconsin. LSU is minus 10.5 favorites.
Yeah, I'm all over LSU minus 10.5.
Okay.
I'm just not sold. Not sold on what's happening in Wisconsin yet. I don't think the head coach. I don't think he has his guys there yet. I think he needs another year or two before he can start getting his guys into Wisconsin and start actually turning that around. I mean,
Talking about a guy that came from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sold yet. They had moments this year where it's like, how the heck did they pull that win off? Yeah. But I mean, I'm on LSU. I think even though there's no Heisman quarterback playing, some top receivers not playing, but there's just their depth down there in LSU. You get too good of athletes. That's my take.
Yeah,
I'll stay with Wisconsin.
Whoa.
I'll stay with Wisconsin based on the fact that I think anybody can out-coach Kelly.
Wow.
Woo. Damn. You mean Kelly? You mean Brian Kelly, the potential new Michigan coach?
That's man. You stole my thunder. I was gonna bring that up. I was just gonna bring that up.
I wonder if he'll speak. I wonder if during this press conference he'd speak with a northern accent.
Yeah. Gosh.
We gotta get on different timelines, dude.
Cringe moments there.
There's so many times where I want to break this news, and you're like, oh yeah, I saw that a couple hours ago. I'm like, damn.
Hey, you know what? That's like growing up with every new song that came out. I'd send you, hey, did you hear this yet? Oh yeah, I've been listening to that for like 4 months.
Like, dude, okay. Hey, shout out to Napster. Shout out to Napster and LimeWire.
Yeah.
Trey is sorry. I'm on LSU for this game. Trey is on Wisconsin with you, Dad. So you guys can jump on the Badgers.
It's Big Ten bias there.
Yep.
One thing I wouldn't want to do is jump on a badger.
Yeah. Maybe a honey badger.
I would not want to jump on a honey badger.
All right, next we got. I'm actually surprised this is even in this realm of spreads, but we got Oregon versus Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. Oregon is minus 14.5 favorites here. What do you guys got for the Ducks?
Oh man, I think the fact that Bo Nix is one of the major superstars actually playing in a non-meaningful bowl game.
Exactly.
I think that's a culture thing. Once again, I like what that guy does up in Oregon. I know he hasn't won anything big yet in terms of conference championship or anything. But yeah, I'm going Oregon. I'm just going to go Oregon minus 14.5. I just would love to see Liberty pull it off. Don't get me wrong, but sure. I like 14.5 for Oregon.
Yeah. I got to go with Oregon. I think they'll ring Liberty's bell.
Oh man.
Usually it's you.
He's taking the dad jokes to the extreme here.
Usually it's you.
Hey, I know.
All right. I'm also on Oregon. I think, Trent, to your point with Bo Nix actually playing, I think that's a big testament to what he's going to be able to do. I also think he's using this as kind of
a get back.
Not even a get back, but like you don't want your last game to be remembered as getting beat by Michael Penix, because then when it comes draft time, it's like, all right, who am I taking, Penix or Bo Nix? All right, well, Michael Penix beat you twice. So if I'm a draft guy and I'm looking at the head-to-head matchups, well, I'm taking Penix then. And I'm not saying that's going to be the tell, because there's so many other dumbass X factors that the NFL uses. But I think Bo Nix is using this as kind of a stepping stone into the NFL versus saying, hey, I'm going to train for the NFL draft. The guy's playing. the guy's playing in a bowl game, and I think that playing in a bowl game or playing in a game is so much more valuable to becoming an NFL quarterback and success moving in the future. And again, not going to revert back to a ton of things, but I revert back to the fact that Brock Purdy played 4 years at Iowa State, was Mr. Irrelevant, came in, and they did not miss a beat, and he has not missed a beat. I think the more game experience you can get in college football, the better off you are. Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
That's Eddie. You're
Why are you
right.
smiling?
I'm just laughing. This is funny. You guys are cracking me up. All right. let's keep going.
All right. Next bowl we got here is the Citrus Bowl. Obviously, some news came out about the Citrus Bowl. I think it was yesterday. This is Tennessee versus Iowa. This is on ESPN. Tennessee is -7.5 favorites. The news that came out is obviously that Joe Milton is not playing. Personally, as a Tennessee football fan, I think that this actually might be beneficial to Tennessee. I think you're going to see Nico, the quarterback, have a huge game and really kind of put it to Iowa, and then kind of solidify him moving into the future as the quarterback here. I mean, he was the number 1 quarterback out of the top 300, so it's time to see what the kid can do.
I think I'm going Iowa plus 7.5. But in reality, I think they win 1-0. Via a drop kick. I don't know, whatever the hell.
Those are worth 2, so you can't be 1-0.
Oh, okay, 2-0. I'm sorry, that's pushing you over. It's got to be. But two teams this year with obviously very, very, which is surprising for Tennessee, but they're more defense focused. So Tennessee being defense focused, Iowa being just defense in general. No offense might not even take the field. They might just put their defense out there when they're on offense. They might be better. But I'm going Iowa plus 7.5.
I like Iowa. Yeah, that defense will shut them down.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The over/under total points is 36.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a definite under.
All right, and Trey is also on Tennessee -7.5 for that game. So Trey and I are Tennessee. You guys are both on Iowa. Really surprised me you guys are on Iowa, but this is what it is. All right, last 2 games here. We got the big ones. College football playoff games here. The first one we have is the semifinal game, which is the Rose Bowl. We got Michigan versus Alabama. Michigan is -1.5 against Alabama.
Michigan -1.5.
Yeah.
Give me Michigan.
Okay. That?
Yeah, I'm all over Michigan myself.
Okay.
I think they pound them. I think they absolutely pound them.
Yeah, if Auburn's in the game like they were with Alabama, and Alabama shouldn't even be in this situation, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. I am also on Michigan. I do think Michigan wins by more than 1.5, obviously. Very tight spread. I do think, Trent, going back to your recency bias stuff, I think that's why you look at teams like Alabama right now that are +1.5. But I think Michigan's a different beast this year. So I think Alabama's a little bit of a faker. All right. And then the last game that we have here is the All-State Sugar Bowl. And you got the Washington Huskies versus the Texas Longhorns. Washington is +4.5.
All right, I am on Washington +4.5.
Whoa.
I said I'm done after picking. I went against what I changed to, where I was very against Washington. Not that I disliked them. I was betting on Oregon against them both times, right? And I'm just gonna say I learned my lesson. I'm not gonna bet against Tyler's main man, Penix, whatever his name is.
Penix. Duke Penix energy.
Tyler, you've been riding Penix all year.
All year. All year long.
Yep.
Oh,
and they've been winning, and they're 13-0, buddy.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Okay.
obviously my pick is Washington, especially if they're going to give them dog status. against Texas, who I think they are better than. So I'm going to go Washington plus 4.5.
I like that. I like Washington as well.
All right. And that wraps it up here.
Trey's
I know, I got Trey's here. Trey's on Washington plus 4.5, but he also he wanted to make sure that I made everybody aware that he does think that Texas is going to win the game.
Oh.
So I'm guessing he's predicting a close game. Thinks that Washington covers maybe by a field goal or something, but he's on Washington plus 4.5, but thinks Texas is going to win. So when it really comes down to it, though, and we can kind of talk about it real quick a little bit, but so, I mean, my national championship then would be Washington, Michigan. Trey's is Michigan and Texas. Trent, I'm guessing yours is Michigan, Washington.
I have Michigan, Washington.
Okay, and then Dad, you're going Michigan, Washington.
Yes.
Okay, so Trey's the only one that's really different in this, in the sense that he's Texas. But I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, and you guys just want to give us winners, and we can kind of figure out what Trey would pick too. But
why don't we save the actual national championship pick for next week?
That's fine. We can do that. So we will save that. A little teaser for you. A little B teaser. Not a D teaser. Don't get too excited.
I want to do a little safety talk. When you're podcasting or you're not used to podcasting, don't walk up and down steps. In the midst of the podcast, for those of you who didn't hear or see, maybe took a tumble in the midst of the podcast. Missed the bottom step because I'm looking at my phone trying to podcast, and
it was
it was pretty entertaining because
remodeling the living room while podcasting.
Yeah, nobody heard it. We actually had to pause it because of the loud stumbling.
Oh, it was loud stumbling. All right, so
got some bruises, but yeah.
I got some nice bruises, but I'm good to go.
Well, happy weekend, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Happy New Year coming up.
That's right. That's
Sunday football, big matchups, playoff seeding implications. You got to admit, guys, since they expanded the playoff, it does give seeding, it does keep the end of the year a little bit more interesting. And much less
sit out,
saving guys.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do like that. So I'm looking forward to the playoff football Monday, bowl games, bigger bowl games this weekend. But heck, all Sunday leading into bringing in the new year, we got some NFL football, which is awesome.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I'll be at that Niners-Commanders game.
Heck yeah. And I will say this. I cannot wait for college basketball to pick back up. I'm a little sick of picking mediocre bowl games and capping those right now. So
a little bit tough.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, you know what? We're almost in a new year. So
yes, sir.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well,
hey, thanks for having me on this week, guys.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, stepping in for Trey.
We appreciate it.
Well, everybody enjoy your weekend. Happy Friday. As those of you that are listening Friday morning here. And we will see you next week with Bearded Baker Banter. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Take care.
See you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.